The internet these days is swamped with university-trained pundits complaining about the media and government. But our institutions can't be fixed without understanding them. And as a rule, the college set leave out important facts. Two commands are drilled into their brains from kindergarten to grad school. They can't say anything that would challenge or even annoy financial elites. And they can't say anything that would be useful to the public. They focus instead on the dastardly deeds of the opposing side. Yet both parties are corrupt to the eyeballs, both are controlled by global interests, and both con their voters into supporting their assigned halves of the elite agenda. The history behind all of this is clear. During 25 years of New Deal policy, taxes were high on the rich and corporations. The capital went to build infrastructure and provide social services. Not too coincidentally, this was the golden age of the middle class. Needless to say, the elite weren't happy with the situation. In the early 1980s, Wall Street entered into an unholy alliance with hostile foreign powers. Those were sweatshop industry in Beijing and oil money in Moscow and Riyadh. It's important to note that these are totalitarian states and they're not to be trusted. It was also a change for the local elite. For years, they had been at least partly loyal to the United States. That was when they weren't paying substitutes to fight for them in the Civil War. Things changed big time in the 80s, and within the new multinational alliance, Wall Street financiers had no loyalty to America. Foreign powers made capital investments in our institutions, and their interests were reflected in news reporting, government policies, and university content. For some 50 years now, our institutions have been controlled by global conglomerates. Of course, this isn't mentioned by media spokespersons or by internet pundits duly brainwashed by the university. The operation included a globalist propaganda campaign, culture war flooded into the media, cultural sabotage produced in the university, and class war policies that wrecked the working class. The propaganda has done a number on everyone. College kids have had cherry-picked history and anti-Western themes shoved down their throats for some 50 years. It's no wonder they're kissing up to Hamas. After years of listening to character assassination against other groups, conservatives are so filled with hatred for the liberal establishment that they happily sabotage public health, accept cycles of supply-side policy, and support outright treason. Both sides jumped on the globalist bandwagon from day one, signing off on their signed halves of the transnational agenda. Liberals were fed beliefs to disguise the class war and to screw over minorities and working people. These include feminism, toxic masculinity, systemic racism, defund the police, this nation of immigrants, etc., etc. The scams are given fanciful names by the social elite. Rob Henderson calls them luxury beliefs, focusing on the status they bring to college liberals and oppression they dump on working people. Gad Saad labels them infectious ideas and parasitic mind viruses. Both are careful not to notice conservative mind viruses, such as treasonous views and the culture war. They also don't mention the financial interests behind the scams. Still, their hearts are in the right place, and Gad is a great thinker. But the terms are standard obfuscation. Again, the problem can't be solved until we understand it. These are not mind viruses or luxury beliefs. They are culture war themes produced and directed by multinational conglomerates. Regarding the pro-Hamas demonstrations, that's oil money talking. After 50 years of this campaign, the public don't know which way is up, and they're easily sold on every elite policy this side of Aspen. Liberals are conned with social justice fantasies into signing off on wokeism, open borders, and deficit infrastructure spending. Conservatives are duped with Confederate hatreds into supporting the culture war, treasonous conspiracy, and deficit tax cuts. These are class war policies that serve not only the American elite, but also foreign interests. Open borders enriches Wall Street with cheap migrant labor, and totalitarian states with a landing place for spies and undesirables. Wokeism and conservative culture war confuse and demoralize the public. Republican treason does the same. By weakening the body politic, they give Wall Street and hostile powers carte blanche to control the government. Deficit spending transfers interest on the debt to investors both foreign and domestic. It also weakens the government, another plus for the global elite. The fixes for this mess are clear. Both parties have to be reformed and globalist policies surgically removed. That means treason, supply side, and culture war on the right, open borders, deficit spending, and wokeism on the left, and inflation on both sides. That could be fixed with taxes or antitrust enforcement on corporate monopolies. But it can only be done when voters from both parties kiss and make up and work together on a common sense and bipartisan agenda. Unfortunately, after 50 years of the propaganda blitz, the public are hopelessly brainwashed. College-educated pundits spew BS on every platform this side of TikTok. The far left and Republican base wallow in toxic hatreds and threaten society and our democracy. And self-satisfied liberals kiss their own asses, regret Trump voters' bad table manners, and invent new and fanciful terms for the world's depravity. The first step towards a fix is understanding the situation. So this video has tried to explain things. The Big Book of Propaganda on Amazon describes the whole enchilada. That includes the global elite that control our institutions, rhetorical tricks and emotional levers used to manipulate the public, and 8 class war policies of the last 40 years, policies that are turning society into a third world hellscape. This is essential content. Without understanding it, the public are puppets on the string of corporate propaganda.